Hi, I'm Wendy Kause, and you're listening to Cause and Effect. Your life is the physical manifestation of your thoughts and actions. Cause and Effect is a platform where I share, talk to entrepreneurs, startups, and others who have struggled with the exact same issues you do, but managed to turn it all around. You'll learn from their struggles, success stories, and amazing advice how you too can transform your mindset, gain clarity, and create the business success and life you desire. I am so excited to share this interview with Victor Dedaj with you today. He is the author of 2 books, You Can Be Successful, and a #1 best-selling award-winning co-author with Jack Canfield, Success Breakthroughs. He is a fully certified success principal and Canfield methodology coach, and he's going to share with us his amazing journey and, most importantly, how he has laid the foundation to becoming a hugely successful coach. Folks, he did it right, and I'm so excited to share with you exactly the steps that he took to be successful. I am so excited to have Victor here with us today because he is the author of 2 books, one that he authored himself called You Can Be Successful. He's an award-winning #1 bestseller co-author with Jack Canfield in Success Breakthroughs. Oh, that's just so exciting, and I cannot wait to hear about that journey. And he is also a fully certified success principal and Canfield methodology coach. So Victor has been on a journey for the last couple years developing his knowledge base and his strength. And I know from talking with him that he is like ready to break through now. But what we want to share today, what I want to talk to you the most about today, Victor, is what has this journey been like? I mean, with the final culmination, he goes through the book, getting the book released with Jack Canfield and all of that. But that ended with a trip to Los Angeles and all kinds of fun a couple of weeks ago. But I want to know, how did you decide that this was the path you were going to take? I mean, a couple of years ago, you decided you want to be a coach. Then you move forward and, you made the decision to start with the foundation. Tell us about that.
Well, a few things. Number one is I've been working online for 5 years. Before that, I was in the corporate world for many years, almost 2 decades. I spent working in the corporate world. I did operations, and then I went into and became a performance analyst for many years. And then I got let go, or if you prefer, got fired 5 years ago. And I never looked back because I've been thinking about working on my own for years. And so my journey is, I think, similar to a lot of people's journey. I've tried a lot of different things, failed at a whole bunch of things, made a lot of mistakes, tried like 4 or 5 companies at once, and shiny object syndrome, which many people do. Needless to say, made money, and none of them started getting better, learned from other people, started working on my personal development, got some coaches, got mentors who really helped train me to become better. And then after doing this for a few years, I said, my coaches have helped me a lot on my journey, and that's one thing I want to start doing. I want to start helping other people out, because I know one of the biggest obstacles for people is they don't know what to do, or they have mental blocks, and it's a couple of things that's stopping them from getting to the next level. So I decided to start working on myself, really working on my personal development, working on trying to become a better coach and getting trained by the best.
And I love that. And then you decided, I imagine in your own journey of finding, educating and finding knowledge and finding people that could mentor and coach, you came across Jack Canfield.
Right. Exactly. I've been a fan of Jack since the 90s when I first read his Chicken Soup for the Soul book. Mm-hmm. And I read some of his other books like The Power of Focus and The Success Principles. And I visualized myself meeting him one day. And lo and behold, a couple of years ago, I saw an ad for Facebook that he was going to come speak near where I live. I live in New York City, and he was speaking across the river in New Jersey. So I signed up. I signed up for VIP. I got to meet him, took some pictures with me. He was very friendly. He gave a great talk, which I enjoyed, but I also loved the fact he was very approachable.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of these coaches, you'd have an easier time getting to the president than to these coaches, because they have like guards all over him. Jack just lets you come up to him, and he'll take pictures with you. And not only was I impressed with Jack, but I was impressed with his assisting team. They were all great people. And I
Mhm.
signed up for another one of his events called Breakthrough to Success, which is a 5-day program. And then from that, I signed up for other different programs because I just enjoyed the experience every single time I went to one of his events. And
Right.
that's why it culminated with me signing up for his Train the Trainer program to become fully certified by him, which happened a few weeks ago.
Oh, that is just so awesome. So how was that trip to LA? I mean, you're New York City, LA. I mean, how was that? How's
Oh, it
the,
was great. I loved LA. It was fun. The weather was great. It was like 75 degrees every single day. It's not too hot. It's not too humid. Like in New York, the weather in New York is extremes. It can get really humid in the summer and really cold in the winter. But
Mhm.
LA, the weather was great. So I spent 3 days first for the award summit, which we got our bestsellers award for the book Success Breakthroughs, which I was in with Jack Canfield. So that was great. Had a great ceremony. Got my award there. Had a great time there. And yeah, I can't say it just feels great. Right now, for the rest of my life, I can tell people I'm a best-selling award-winning author.
I know, great.
And then afterwards, I spent 7 days being trained by Jack. We had to do a couple different presentations. I had to do an individual one, and then we had a group presentation, which I had to do in front of everyone. So it was a lot of work. It was very intense, but after we did it, we felt so relieved. We got great feedback. The great thing about it is they tell you everything you did right, give you a little tips for improvement because no matter how good you are, there's always things you miss out on. So Jack gave great ideas for improving our presentations. His partner, Patty Aubrey, also gave us some advice, and as well as their senior trainer, Kathleen Seeley. So all three of them gave us great feedback. They told us what they loved about it, and then little tips how we can improve things, because little things can make a big difference in a presentation. So I definitely enjoyed the week there. I learned a lot from them, and I just felt I grew so much during that week. And the best thing was, at the end of the week, we got our diplomas, we graduated, and now we're fully certified by them.
Oh,
So
that is so cool. That is so cool. So I always ask this with anybody who does a workshop with me or training or what have you. At the end of every meeting, I always say, what was the highest value of our time that we spent together today? What would you say was your highest value of your time with Jack Canfield in Los Angeles and that whole experience?
uh, I think number one, I think they pushed us out of our comfort zones because number one, during the summer, we had to do several different things. We had to do a 1-hour webinar on the success principles. We had to host a half-day workshop. We had to host what was called a Come As You Will Be in 5 Years party, in which all the participants who come in act like how they expect to be 5 years from now, how successful they are. So they act the part, which is really to fill your subconscious mind with successful thoughts. Now, they asked us to do this so we'd be ready for the fall week training. And then we had to do these two presentations. So they had us do a lot of work just to get us out of our comfort zone. So
Right.
they made us do a lot, but it also showed their faith in us. And I think that's very important because the comfort zone, I think, is one of the biggest enemies of success. So they made us work at this. And here's the thing, when you start working on something that you used to, after a while, you get comfortable at it. So I think
Yeah.
doing these things which we were not used to doing, and as well as the feedback they gave us, and also they let us share at the end of the week, our questions, what we got, what we expect, and all those things. And one of the things they taught us was the importance of, when you're doing a presentation, is to get your audience involved. Whether it's
Mhm.
have them break up into groups, or if you give a talk, ask them if they have any questions or any comments. So they really had us practice on doing that, and also practicing on focusing on everyone in the audience, because sometimes you might focus on one segment of the audience and the other segment might feel left out. So they gave us a lot of good feedback how important it is to do all these little things when you're talking to an audience, because if you don't,
Mhm.
they may feel left out. They won't enjoy your talk as much. So those are the highlights. I know it was only one thing, but I had to mention like 2 or 3 different
No,
things.
that's great. That is just great. And all of this learning over the last couple of years that you've done with Jack Canfield, all of this learning is culminating into you becoming a full-time coach.
Hmm.
And I'm sure you have big dreams of making lots of money and influencing a lot of people and doing all of that. So tell us a little bit about what you want to help folks do. I guess not so much about giving me all the nuts and bolts of what you're going to do, but how did you decide that was number one, what you want to help people do, and number two, how did you decide those were the things that you were going to focus on? We talked earlier, it was blocks, mindset, personal development, and focus. So, I mean, why that? I know you want to help people, but in this format, why?
Because I think those are the things that stop most people from succeeding. A lot of people know the technical stuff. You can go to some event, whether it's e-commerce, network marketing, the company will train you what to do. Everyone knows what to do. And you see people go to these events and they're like, rah, rah, I'm going to kill it. And then 3 days later, they just don't do anything. Because it wears off. And a lot of it's because it's the mindset issues, it's the mental blocks, it's the lack of consistency, the lack of focus, the lack of surrounding themselves with successful people, which I think is extremely important. A lot of times they come back home, they have families and friends who don't support them. Mm-hmm. So maybe you need to have an accountability partner or a coach who you talk to every week, or someone somewhere. Maybe you have a group, a meetup group or a Facebook group, someone where you can do a Zoom call or a Skype call every week, but you need to be surrounded by people who will support you in your mission. If you don't, after a while, it's you can't do this by yourself.
Right. That's why I created the Kause Syndicate. My business is focusing on brand new startups, not people who are already established, although using the principles that I teach will take them to the next level as a coach. But that's why I created the Kause Syndicate, because a lot of startup people don't have the income to invest in massive amount of the strategy and the technology and the deep high-end coaching, but they need direction to get started. Oh my gosh, that is just so important. So I totally get that. And your focus is on business, people in business, network marketing, and then startup entrepreneurship, or just anywhere in the journey in entrepreneurship?
Those people you mentioned are probably my primary focus, but what I've learned from coaches, especially from Jack Canfield with his success principles, you can use this in any field. So if people working a 9-to-5 job in an office, they can utilize these principles and become successful.
All right. So your niche is yourself. Those basic principles that can be applied to anyone. That is awesome.
Pretty much anyone. Yeah. So I probably most of the people I probably deal with are going to be entrepreneurs, but I can deal with pretty much anyone.
Right. And I just love the fact that you recognize that you had the desire to create this coaching business on top of your normal online businesses that you have going in the meantime, which is going to pay your bills while you're building your business, right? Exactly. I love how focused you were. You have a desire. I want to be a coach and serve these people in this capacity. You recognize your strengths and your weaknesses, your strength being your passion to go to make those changes in yourself. And then your weaknesses was not knowing how to go about establishing a coaching business, or the whole end of becoming an expert in your field. And it seems like you just hunkered down and went, okay, step by step by step. These are the steps that I'm going to take. Did you recognize that it was going to be a 2+ year journey before you could start making serious money in the coaching business?
I just learned from just being an entrepreneur, all these things take time. I've learned that I can't expect instant gratification. If you want something to happen instantaneously, just buy a lottery ticket and hope for the best. Everything takes time. If you're going to plant a garden, it's going to take some time. It's going to take many months of cultivating and taking care of the garden. Anything that you want that's going to grow requires a foundation. A house needs a foundation to be built. Without the foundation, it's going to fall apart. And a lot of people need to understand, you need to develop yourself. Jerome said, work harder on yourself than on your job. He said, if you work harder on your job, you can make a living. But if you work harder on yourself, you can make a fortune. So you're ultimately what needs to be developed. You take care of yourself. Whatever talent you have, you can take that into any industry, any job. And that's something people don't understand. Because if you join a network marketing company, goes under, and you haven't developed yourself, you're in big trouble. But if you've really worked on your personal development, you've developed that mindset, that work habit, that focus, and you've developed all that, if the company goes down, you can take your talent somewhere else and you will be successful.
Right. So again, you're your own niche. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. Note to self. because I struggle personally with, I really want to help make more coaches. So my extreme niche is helping coaches to start their business from ground up. What does that process look like? And I really haven't really thought about it too deeply in the format of, wait a minute, I'm my niche, not so much developing coaches, although that's going to stick with my focus because that's what I want to do, but I do so much more. Thank you. That was really cool. So, so right now you've just graduated, you're fully certified through the Jack Canfield methodology, and, you've got your own forward motion from here. So when we were pre-talking, you were saying that, next year you're looking at, you got another, co-author book coming up, and creation of products. So what does 2019 look like for you?
Well, there's a lot of things going on. I'm looking for some great things to have. Like I mentioned before, we discussed, I want to get some products up by the end of the spring. I'm going to do more public speaking. That's another great desire of mine. And so I think having the Jack Canfield certification is going to help me out in that. And something else, I actually was talking to one of my other mentors a few days ago, and he wants to create a new program, and a big focus on is going to be personal development, self-development, and he wants me to help out with that. So he's going to host like 4 different, like 4 or 5 day events throughout the year, and he wants me to speak at these events, and we might be working on creating some products. So this is something great that came out of it. So he likes the way I speak and the way I teach about personal development. So that's one thing I think is going to help me out as well.
Awesome. Awesomeness. So what would you say? Oh, and let's not forget that book. You're co-authoring the book, From Prison to Pinstripes. And definitely make a note, you have not been to prison.
Yes.
The author of this book has been and knows of you and asked you to write a chapter in that book for entrepreneurship.
Correct. Yeah. So he's a friend of mine. We've been friends for years. He and a few other people wrote some chapters about their lives. They were all incarcerated at one point, and then they got out and they've tried to make do great things with their lives. So they want to give hope to people who've been incarcerated, because sometimes when people get incarcerated, they feel like they have no hope once they get out, and they want to give these people hope that they can do great things with their lives. And he's asked me to write a chapter on entrepreneurship. And I appreciate you letting people know I've never been incarcerated.
Yeah, not that that's the end of the world or anything.
Exactly.
That's not why you're writing in that book.
Exactly.
So, Victor, what would you say is your greatest obstacle that you're facing here in the next year, in 6 months to a year? What are your greatest obstacles?
Well, I think number one is just to market myself more to people. For example, I'm not as well known as, say, Les Brown or Tony Robbins or Jack Canfield. So that's an obstacle a lot of people have. So I try to get myself better known. I mean, people starting to get to know me more, but that's something I still need to work on. Just to get my name out there more. So I got to work on my marketing, just getting my name better known out there. And so that's definitely a big deal. And I think I mentioned to you earlier is, I need to create more products, because the more products you can create, the more people's lives you can change. And I think one way to be successful is you need to focus on being a creator instead of a consumer.
Be a creator. Love that. Awesome. So we've got some really big things. Someday it's going to be like, I knew you when. In a couple of years, Victor's going to be charging to be on a podcast or an interview platform.
You'll be free because you knew me before I hit it big.
Okay. I'll take that. I am so excited for you, and I think your journey is. I really like your step by step. You knew what you wanted. You took the steps to make it happen, and you're there. I mean, a lot of times I notice coaching folks, what they want to do is they want to create a huge following, but they have no product. They want to be well known, but they have no plan. They want to be a coach, but they don't have a system. They have this big dream, but they fail And I think a lot of that comes from some of the craziness that we see on Facebook and the social media of, if you take this program, you're going to be a coach in 6 weeks, even though you don't know anybody, you don't have a following, you don't know anything, you don't know what you want to coach. But if you buy this program, you're going to be a coach in 6 weeks or less. And I'm afraid that so many people are buying into that. But true successful entrepreneurs absolutely understand the principle that you're talking about, creating that foundation and building upon that. I call it, my little way of calling it is crawl, walk, run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that does take time. You're looking at a couple of years of investing in yourself and your personal development. That's time, a little bit of money, or a lot of money, depending on the direction that you decide to go. And I admire you for your stick-to-itiveness and your process that you're doing, and how that's going to be a great lesson for those watching this.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I totally agree with you. I think we live in an age of instant gratification. Everyone wants results yesterday, and it's going to take time to build those results, to develop yourself. A lot of these successful people you see, they didn't become successes overnight. It took them many years of hard work and labor. And the other thing everyone needs to understand is most of those people have failed at least several times. You're not going to hear a story, oh, I tried the first time and I became a millionaire. You usually hear people, I failed 4, 5, 10 times. I was bankrupt 2 or 3 times. I mean, Jack Canfield did not become a millionaire until he was 51.
Right. Okay, I just turned 50 this year, so
yeah.
No comparison though, right? No comparison.
And the age doesn't matter. Grandma Moses started painting when she was in her 70s.
Yeah, it really.
You see the legacy she left.
It's the journey, you know. My big message is it's about that journey. It's about the fun that you're having, the joy and the happiness that you're experiencing along the way of learning.
Absolutely. Just focus on really, you just need to focus on, are you better than you were last week, last month, last year? Don't compare yourself to other people, because it's always going to be a losing proposition. If I try to compare myself to Tony Robbins, I'm going to lose. Right. But if I compare myself to where I was a month ago, if I'm better, then I'm winning. So that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Focus on yourself, your personal development. As long as you're getting better each week, each month, you're going to get there. You just have to never give up. You got to be persistent, focused, consistent. A lot of people are not consistent. They work hard for 3 or 4 days and they take off for a week. You got to be consistent in everything you do day in and day out. And
consistent. Show up every day.
Exactly.
Even if it's just for a half hour, show up for 100%, at least a half hour every day, or 10 hours a day, or 4 hours a day, or 2 hours a day, but be consistent with whatever it is. I can't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to share with folks how they can get a hold of you in the show notes and whatnot. But give us the best way to get a hold of you or to start following you, Victor, because I really want people to have access to you.
Sure. So people can follow me on Facebook at facebook.victordedaj.com. And my last name, Dedaj, is spelled D as in David, E as in Eddie, D as in David again, A as in Apple, J as in James. And it's J that's spelled backwards. They can also contact me at victordedaj@victordedaj.org. And they can also contact me on my website, victordedaj.com.
Awesome. Kind of easy to find you everywhere, right? That is just fantastic. Okay, so before we close out this awesome interview, very inspirational interview, let me ask you, what would be the number one piece of advice that you would provide for any upcoming entrepreneur or startup company?
All right, if you're going to start off for yourself, number one, I'm going to have to say a few things. Number one, take 100% responsibility for your life. When something goes wrong, try not to blame other people, because it weakens you, it disempowers you, and it makes you not become solution-oriented. When you take 100% responsibility for your life, when something goes wrong, you become solution-oriented and you will figure out a problem. So that is Jack Canfield's first success principle. Everything else flows from there. And then the other things I said, be focused, be consistent, be persistent. Don't give up. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want, because people might say yes. If you never ask, the answer will always be no. And get yourself a mentor, get a coach, whether it's me or Wendy or someone else. And you can't do this on your own. All the successful people have coaches. You see it in every industry. You see in sports, they have trainers, they have coaches. So you need to get yourself one. You can't do this on your own. They're going to save you so much time and hassle. And ultimately, never give up. If you don't give up and you're doing the right things, you'll eventually get there. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 5 years. Everyone's journey is different. But again, build that proper foundation and you will make it.
Awesome. Awesome. Success is inevitable.
Exactly.
I love that saying. Victor, I'm going to keep following you. I would love to have you back on my show again.
Absolutely.
Maybe when you do your launch of the book or your first program,
Sure.
and in the spring or something like that. I think that would be fantastic to follow your journey. And I can't thank you enough for coming on my Cause and Effect show and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and enthusiasm for creating that foundation and just making it happen. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure being on your show, Wendy. I definitely look forward to being on your show again in the future.
All right. Thank you.
You're
Bye-bye
welcome.
now.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye. For years, I struggled to take the leap of faith into my own authentic self, which for me was starting my own coaching practice. I studied, took courses, went to seminars, and read every personal development book I could get my hands on, all in the attempt to create the internal discipline to manifest the life I knew I wanted to live. But I still struggled to find my own pace and place in the world. You may be feeling this way as well, fearful, unsure, and stressed, afraid of stepping into the light of your true power and purpose. What if you tried and failed? Who would actually want to learn from you? Your family and friends might laugh at you and your silly dreams. Maybe you don't think you have what it takes to become a coach, but you do. You can be, do, and have anything you want in this life if you so choose. Maybe you believe you can't find the internal strength and the discipline to stop procrastinating, to get off the couch and into your life. You know that if you don't get moving, you'll regret it. But right now, you just don't know where or how to start. I am here to tell you the life you're living, the job you have, the daily routines you perform are simply a direct reflection of the person you were, not the reflection of the person you wish to be. Maybe more than once you have sworn to yourself that come Monday, you'll begin to take the steps to manifest your dream of becoming a coach. Maybe even attending a few webinars, taken some notes, and created a file with all the information you've learned over time to start your coaching practice, only to find yourself in overwhelm, self-doubt, and fear. You find yourself stepping back into your safe and comfortable daily routine. Imagine breaking through the barrier and taking steps every day to create the life that you desire, transforming others with your gifts, manifesting the financial freedom to quit your day job, spend time with your family, and travel when you want, and truly step into your divine purpose. I completely get you. I too spent years trying and failing before I finally broke all the rules and began living my life on my terms, becoming a coach that helps others to become the agent of change in their lives. For over 6 years now, I've been serving my clients and creating a freedom-based lifestyle that I simply love. I developed a system that helps my clients to gain the clarity and develop a vision, to stop procrastination, and uncover whatever it may be that's holding them back. I do know that the very first step is to open your mind to the possibilities. I know it's in you to do, be, and have whatever you dream of. You can end procrastination, fan the flames of passion and purpose, and step into the life that you choose. If you're ready to become an agent of change in your own life and others, head on over to www.kausesuccess.com/syndicate. SYNDICATE. That's www.causesuccess.com/syndicate, and take the first step to manifesting the life you desire.